All right. Hey, everybody. TG here. Let's see. Should be up and running on Restream. So we got YouTube, Facebook, and X, and looks good there, and also good in the Moxie room. All right. So for those of you on the social medias out there, you'll see that I am actually here on the options, my options screen, because I've over the last few months, I've been getting into zero DTE day trading. And today was a little bit of a tricky one. The market looked really slow this morning. And I was live on the mic in the Moxie room, and we are talking about this. And I gotta say, I got out break even, but then it started to move up and out. So one of the lessons here is that the calls that we're looking at, the options, and the market itself never actually gave us an official exit signal. I was just kind of looking at things as like, I don't know if this market's really going to move or anything else like that. And so, I decided to get out preemptively, which, not the right choice. But I wanted to show you guys the potential and the power of what's in here, and this is why I'm doing this. And so the nice thing about the zero DT stuff is, you know what? It's one day at a time. And so we can sometimes there are multiple in a day. We've even seen that on the really fancy days there can be I've seen up to 3 different trades that have been pretty clean. Doesn't mean I'm going to take them all, but it means that we get multiple opportunities every day and multiple opportunities every week to take advantage of this stuff. So this is one of those things that we were looking at. You can see not only did we have the Moxie price trigger fire, and we had that on multiple of the options, we also started to see price really set up in the way that I teach. So everything was pretty good here. We got a nice clean entry right around $3. It did very minimal wiggling. So I think, even at $3, right around here, I think the most that it drew down was about 15, 16%. That's like almost nothing for these things. And then it started to move up. And our first target is usually about 100%. So you can see here from $3 to here, there's our 100%. That would be our first target. And then you let the other half go, or other piece, whatever you did. And at this point, I got to say, it's up at over 222%. So a little bit sad that I missed it, but it's one of those lessons that we can keep applying. And every day is a new day on in the market like this. And so if you guys haven't seen me do this, this is what we're talking through and teaching. And today I got a little bit skittish, and so yeah, I missed it. But boy, I got to tell you, our entry was there. We had it, and the market popped up. You got 100%, then you get over 200% right now. We'll have to see where it goes. And then we can just let it run, because right now you either stop to break even or even a profitable whatever, and you let this other piece go until you see what happens. And you can see for now it's still wanting to go up. So what are we at, 250 probably? Let's see, right around $3. Yeah, we're up about almost 250 as far as what this thing gets. Now, are you going to get the top? Probably not, but at least this is a pretty darn healthy amount, and then we can see where it goes from there. Now, as far as the market goes, I've been using, you're probably seeing a lot of us over at Simpler talking about spot gamma, and I'm starting to incorporate it into my trading. And there's a big spread at 57.55, and that was another big reason as to why I was looking bullish on this market. Not to mention that the market actually closed on a pretty strong note yesterday. And so 57.75 would have been a pretty decent target, and now we're going past it. Now, one thing I also kind of picked out from yesterday, because yesterday there was a you guys should take a look at this. This is pretty amazing. So yesterday we also took a trade, and we made about 100% on it. There was about 300% available, but we got our 100%. And the other call, not the call wall, but like the big key gamma level was at 57.50. And so I kind of thought, okay, maybe they're just going to take it right to 57.50 and that's it. But the interesting thing of what they did is they actually overshot it, and then by the end of the day they brought it back exactly to 57.50. So it's one of these things that now that I'm kind of incorporating spot gamma and all these option gammas and things underneath, I'm got to figure out how it actually works. It doesn't necessarily mean that price just stops right on a dime at these levels, but maybe it means that they will come back to those levels sometime by the end of the day. And that's an interesting facet that I'm figuring out, because yesterday, I mean, really on the dot, it was 57.50 is where they closed that thing. So pretty impressive with that. And that is, and also because they overshot it, that's how you got that 300% gain on that. The other interesting thing this morning was that right off the bat, the UVIX was straight down, which was another clue or indication that the market was, yeah, really wasn't any fear in the market. And the UVIX coming down is something that I've been talking about this entire week, looking for this to finally start breaking its levels and starting to move down, and it is. So this was another reason. If you guys, I'll have to actually maybe I'll go post this on X. But just either it was yesterday or on Monday, I said I'm looking for the UVIX, the VIX, to come back down, and if it does, then this market should keep going higher. And now there's a call wall at 5,800, so that's kind of probably our next major target. But I said, hey, as long as the UVX continues to move down, I think the market's going to move up, and we should be doing just fine. And I think today proves that. So today proves it because we are now making new all-time highs as we speak. And then coming into that, you can see that was basically from a double bottom here. I think that was Monday that we pulled back and then turned around. And you can see on the daily chart, just look how clean, absolutely perfectly clean, how price came into the daily 21. So those of you in the Moxie room, those of you guys who listen to me and my teachings and how I talk about this stuff, this worked out 100% of what we were expecting. I said, watch for price to hold the daily 21. And again, those of you in the Moxie room that are listening right now, you know that on Monday, I said, hey, let's first see if price can pull back into the 15-minute 50. Well, as you can see, it did not hold the 15-minute 50. It definitely went through it. But what happened yesterday? Held the 15-minute 50, didn't it? And look at the Moxie indicator. Super tight, looks like one line going in that direction. That is a strong situation. Okay, so from a swing trading perspective, we're seeing everything that we want to see. And today, yes, there was even a pretty good move on the zero DTEs. And yeah, so well, lesson learned on that one. Now let's kind of look through a few things. I'll show you guys some of the trades that we're in and how well they're doing. So Reddit, I saw this morning, was doing pretty well. Let me switch over to here. And you can see just had us a nice steady up move. We got in right here in this little cradle for a price. Absolutely perfect. Loved it. And in fact, this kind of looks like our zero DT. Guys in the Moxie room, the zero DT call that we took, wouldn't you say it kind of looked like this, didn't it? So, kind of came down, set up a little bit, pulled back, and then right there is where we got it. And you can see that it continued to move up. Let me actually take a little screenshot of that because for those of you in the Moxie room, I want you to be able to see things like that. Let me maximize this so we can get a little bit better. Yeah, these calls are doing well. What are we up to now? $3 went up to almost 300%. Not too shabby. All right, let me move this over because there you go. And if we take a screenshot of this and then we compare it right there, and we compare it to Reddit, you guys see the similarities? And this is the real power. This is the thing that I have at least figured out for myself. And what I started teaching all of you guys is that these options set up the same way that stocks do. And that is why, for me, I've never traded options before, at least not professionally and publicly. They just never really worked out for me. And then all of a sudden, the guy who never trades options from just trading stock gets into zero DTE options. And the reason is because I figured out that you can plot options the same way that you can plot stocks, and that they set up in practically the same way. I mean, look at today. Do you guys see how this call option looks exactly like Reddit on the daily chart? And this is the thing, because I've spent years learning how to trade stocks and looking for these patterns and trying to figure out how do these things move up. And then all of a sudden, these options are doing the same thing. And I don't have to just look at a trade grid. I can actually look at them visually, and that can help me. So today is a huge lesson on this stuff. Look at that. You can see we got the 8 crossing over the 21. We got price crossing the 50, and you can see the same exact setup on Reddit daily. So that's going to be a big thing. I think I'm going to write this up as kind of a in my trade log, and then this way I can bring it back to you guys in the Moxie room and make sure that you guys see the experience that we are tabulating for this. All right. So then another one that we're looking at, CART, has been another fantastic winner for us. And you can see we picked this thing up right there. And I think we're up 26% last I saw. Yeah, 26%, right up there. and this thing's been doing great. I'm looking at this as a longer term move, longer term charts, buy the dips, that kind of stuff. I wouldn't go chase it here. And in fact, we added to this, was it last week on Friday? Another great setup. Look at that. We added to it right there. I'd say that's pretty good. Hope you guys are happy about that one too. So we got in at two of the best places. We got in here and we got in here. All right, so that was CART. And then FNGU is another, this is a leveraged ETF of the FANG stocks. And I would say we're pretty happy about this one also, because if you look here, it just bounced off of the daily 50 and it just bounced off the hourly 50, and that's where we got in. It was right in through there. So this thing is looking pretty nice up and through there. Yeah, FANG stocks, everything looking pretty good. I would say that from being overbought to oversold, and we ended up right in the middle, that seems pretty nice and healthy to me, and I just want to see this thing continue to appreciate in value. All right, and then another one, let's look at Tesla. Now, Tesla might be a little bit different of a case. Not too bad. It has earnings coming up. I think they're going to be talking a lot about the robo taxis and all that kind of stuff. Now, if this does not move up from here, then I'm going to say price is going to continue to get rejected by the hourly 50. But if it does move up, then I'm going to say, hey, price is going to hold the daily 21, and we should then see price get over the hourly 50. Okay, so we're right there. We're right at an area where price is testing support. You can see that with that daily 21. And then it's also trying to figure out if this resistance is really going to continue to be resistance at the hourly 50. So we're right between two different levels. We'll have to see which one holds and which one breaks. Of course, we would love to see it break to the upside. Another one that we are looking at, or actually we are in, is NTNX. This is the one that I decided to go after for the tech space. And you can see that after, popped on earnings, and this is another thing that I talk about a lot, is a lot of times when you get gap up or an earnings, something like that, you don't have to worry about chasing it. You can even look here on the last gap up on earnings, is it popped up. Yeah, it might have moved up just a little bit, but look what it did. Over the course of time, it really didn't go anywhere. Most of the time, after a gap up, there will be a second opportunity to get in. Okay, you don't need to go chase it right away, and that will help you make sure that you don't get in at bad spots. You don't want to go chase. You want to let the trade come to you, and then you can just be patient and wait for your spot. And you can see that with NTNX, waited, and we just went into this one on Friday also. And again, I'd say that was a pretty clean spot, because now here we are. It looks like we're starting to move up and out. And look at this. We are even getting a fresh Moxie price trigger on the hourly chart. I really like what's looking here. And you can see this is basically a bull flag into the daily 50. And we got squeezes. So yeah, super happy about this. I like our portfolio of what we're looking at and dealing with. And then to move on from that, silver. Silver has been one of the things I've talked about significantly on my last two video newsletters. So if you guys come over to YouTube or my profitpilot.com website, that's where you can find my video newsletters. I put out twice per week. And with silver, big picture, yeah, it's looking great. Everyone's talking about the precious metals and all that kind of stuff, and silver's looking awesome. But in my video, I said, I'm not sure that this is really going to break out right from here. I'm not sure that this is going to be the spot to, initiate or add to and say, oh, I think it's going to break out right here. Number one, silver has a reputation for being highly manipulated. I think by JP Morgan or just kind of other powers to be, that kind of thing. And so just remember that. And I think 30 is also a big level that people always kind of talk about. But yes, if you are hanging on to silver, it sure looks to me like silver is going to continue going higher into the future. But you don't want to pick the wrong spot either. And so if we kind of look here, part of the reason why I was saying is I'm not sure that this is going to break out from here is because by the time it got all the way back to its previous high, so again, if you think about it, it's kind of like a game of whack-a-mole. You have your previous high as a level, and you're saying you want to be the first one to pop your head up there, it might be a game of whack-a-mole, like we said. And so a lot of times what happens is you come up here, you're going to pull back a little bit, you're going to regroup, you're going to build up some strength and support, and then you're going to push through. And I could also look at this and just say, you know what, this has already spent a lot of energy getting from 26 to 30, and I just don't think it's going to keep pushing through 30 in a straight line. It's most likely going to pull back first. And then again, for those of you in the Moxie room, You guys know all my teachings and everything I talk about, but look at that. That gap between price and the daily 50 kind of told me, I was like, yeah, I have a feeling it's going to come back. Price just likes to come back and be near moving averages. So that was another thought. And then you could see that you actually, again, talk about manipulation out there. I don't know if people had buy stops out there or they're just testing or something, but you can see that they actually pushed price up, made new all-time highs on silver, and then totally reversed it and broke it right back down. And they did this all within a few minutes, whatever morning that was. I don't know. It looks like maybe Thursday, Friday, something like that. But talk about some shenanigans like, hey, new all-time highs, and we're going to sell into it. So they were just looking for some liquidity on that one. And then on the hourly chart, you could also see here, double top and negative divergence right there. And then now you're getting your Moxie price trigger to the downside. All right, Terry, let's see. So you're looking at HL, has a lot of silver in the ground. Okay, this one looks like a challenging chart, honestly. I'd have to probably zoom out to the monthly weekly. The monthly's looking pretty good. It looks like it's pulled back into the monthly 10 and looks like it wants to keep going. And as you can see here, seems to be a bit of a line and trying to break out. Looks good. On the weekly, now you start to see a little bit more of that noise, up, down, up, down, up, down. But generally speaking, it's trying to hold a now uptrending weekly 50. And then on the daily and hourly, gosh, this is a tough one. Now maybe the reason it has been so choppy like this is because it's in transition. And so maybe once this thing actually gets into gear and starts to, hook to the upside, maybe it'll be a little bit smoother. But it does certainly have a reputation of being a little bit choppy. So if you're going to trade this, keep that in mind because you might need to keep a really big stop on something like this. But wow, that's a lot. The only thing I'm going to point out here is with this line, you can see that this has been an area of resistance. Now you've broken out past that resistance, and oftentimes you do get a pullback to then test what used to be resistance for support. And if it works, then it can keep moving up from there. So sure, Terry, if this is something that interests you, you might need to step back from your screens and look at the monthly and weekly charts in order to be able to hang on to something like this. All right. Yeah. Gold, silver, gold miners, GDX. Yeah. These things are pretty darn whippy and challenging to trade. It's really hard to trade these as a swing trader. I would say right now it's almost in a channel trade. And this last one was kind of a pop up and then a failure. And we'll have to see, can it keep just whipping back and forth like this? So yeah, this is why I really don't touch them too much. These precious metals and everything, they're just a little challenging. So, all right, guys. Well, that's kind of what we've been looking at this market. Let's go back to the SPX because we're, as I said, in the process of making new all-time highs, and we are well past. I got to say, we're well past that 57.75, which is pretty impressive. And let's see, are we going to tap and hit the 5,800 today? It seems a little, well, I guess it's not too far. It's up there, but we'll have to see what that does. It seems a little bit like a bit of a stretch for today, but I think that's going to be the next major level that we're looking at is 5,800, and then we'll see where it goes from there. But what can we say? The market is making new all-time highs as we speak. This is even ahead of the election. I mean, the election is in about a month, and the market just doesn't care right now. It still just doesn't care. I think mostly what the market is interested about is the rate cutting cycle, and that's what I've been saying for quite some time. Even if we look at the IWM and the small caps, this is the last thing that we've been waiting for. And actually, those of you in the Moxie room, look where we marked at the X this morning. Look at that. We put the X right there, as I said, that price should start to hold the 15-minute 50, and it perfectly did today. Now, that being said, the bigger trend, the bigger picture is, Terry, just like on silver or HL that I showed you, where you break out past a trend line and then you come back to test that trend line. And if it holds, then you continue to move up from there. And that's why I've been looking at this. I think that this is a great spot for the IWM, so the small caps. It sure looks to me like finally, after this little bit of a pullback and consolidation, I think we're well on our way. I think that this is a good, strong setup and situation for IWM. We can look at buying leveraged ETF if IWM, if you're interested in it. But yeah, I'm really happy with our positions. I think things are doing well, and the market is making new all-time highs as we speak. So, what's there to really complain about, right? Okay, guys. Well, thanks again. Enjoyed your time. And for those of you on social medias, remember you can come over to profitpilot.com, come and check the room out, and you can kind of see all the things that we've been discussing about live in the mic. I'm usually on the mic at least an hour a day, if not more.